Hello and welcome to another episode of Agilato. My name is Ravi Verma. I am the founder and org whisperer at SmoothApps, and I'm also a Scrum.org professional Scrum trainer. Today I want to talk to you about a common concern that many companies have as they try Scrum. When we introduce Scrum, one of the first challenges is when we tell Scrum teams that Scrum demands that you provide a potentially shippable, high value done increment every 30 days or less, we hear common concerns. This cannot, should not, will not be done. But once we chip away at those concerns from a technical feasibility perspective and the team starts delivering done increments every 30 days or less, the problem shifts downstream. And what I mean by that is now the business organization who used to complain IT is too slow, IT can't deliver quality, suddenly they have a new problem. IT is not slow. IT is delivering quality. IT is delivering value. So now the problem is we can't go to production that quickly. The cost of absorbing a new release is prohibitive. We can cause regulatory violations. Our customers are not ready to absorb or adopt a new release that often. So let's wait for 6 months, 12 months, and let's batch up all the capabilities, and then we will ask our customers to deploy or to adopt the release because it is less disruptive, right? Now we've seen this kind of thinking for a long time, and today I want to give you some real world examples from my clients on that might help you navigate through this kind of thinking. Okay, so here are some steps that one of my clients actually considered and followed to address the concerns of the business that going to production too often might overwhelm customers or might create regulatory violation risk. Okay, so the first possibility is, can we go dark? So dark means, going dark to production means nobody else knows that you've gone to production. Only the employees of the company can flip a switch in production and make sure that things are working as expected, but not a single customer is impacted, right? Can we go parallel? So you have the legacy system or the old version that is running, and again, maybe we go dark, we go parallel. So now there is a new system that is coming up, and it is not disrupting the legacy system, but it's just running, so that when you follow the path from the dev environment to the staging environment or the pre-prod environment and the prod environment, even though you have not asked customers to start using the functionality, you have exposed all of the unintended consequences of traveling this path, and you've caught them before the customer catches them. So in fact, going to production more frequently can reduce the pain or the cost of absorption for customers, and it can in fact reduce regulatory risk exposure because you are trying to find out those regulatory violations before customers start working on the new product, right? What if we just went read only? So whether it's dark or not dark, whether it is accessible to customers or not, if the concern is that the new system could create damage by doing the read write, what if we just did read capability, right? Just to make sure, is the UI look okay? Are there any challenges in environments, or are there any defects when it comes to just read functionality? This also increases the confidence level of the business community because they get a chance to play with the code without putting at risk things that they care about, which is regulatory violation or damaging customers, right? What if we did a pilot? Maybe 1 or 2 customers, maybe it's parallel, so they have the legacy functionality, and now they volunteer or they opt in to do a pilot of the new functionality. Maybe it's running in parallel, maybe it's just read only, or maybe it's doing some read write, but now you have reduced your risk exposure. So if you have 300, 500 million customers, you are not rolling it out to all your millions of customers. You're just rolling it out to one or two customers who have opted in because they are curious, and they like to get an early sneak peek on the new features, right? So there are so many ways in which you can still use Scrum to reduce risk, to reduce uncertainty, unintended consequences through the deployment of potentially shippable, valuable increments to production without forcing your customers to absorb or adopt new releases at a pace that they don't want to, and also without incurring new levels or undesirable levels of regulatory risk exposure. So if you're careful and if you're smart, you can actually take this kind of weakness and convert it into a strength. You can use these deployments and manage the risk of unintended consequences and actually reduce the risk of regulatory violations by detecting them before any customer is impacted. You can reduce the cost of customer absorption or loss of customer goodwill, again, by finding issues before the customer finds them. So I hope this gave you some new food for thought in terms of how you might exploit or implement that rule of Scrum that you should deploy to, that you should create a potentially shippable increment every 30 days or less. I hope that this video gave you some ideas on how you might use this rule of Scrum to reduce risk exposure, to reduce the cost of absorption for your releases, and to reduce the risk of unintended damage to your customers. Think about it. If you have questions, I'd love to hear from you. Contact me through Twitter, LinkedIn, or smoothapps.com. Until our next video, thank you, keep calm, and Scrum on.